Welcome back to MC Disc Vlogs. Today we are going to be doing a 2024 Q&A. The first question is, what is your favorite disc type?
I'd say my favorite type of disc to throw is a putter. I mean, I like throwing all the different types of discs, like distance drivers, fairways, mids, and putters. Um, I'd say putters are probably the most fun, like doing up shots and just putter shots off the tee, so they're more controllable. I mean, distance drivers are fun to throw because you get to see more of a full flight. Uh, but putters are pretty fun to throw too, especially like the neutral flying ones because you could get them to kind of do what you want because they're usually more like a neutral flying disc. Get them to go on Anheuser, straight, or hyzer, do that kind of thing.
What is preferred throwing style?
For me, I'm primarily backhand. Um, some people are like forehand dominant. I'm backhand mainly, lefty backhand. So for me, certain types of shots differ from other people because uh, I say the large percentage of people are right-handed backhand. Um, so I have like similar shot shape to like right-handed forehand throwers, but even lefty backhand. So like my favorite courses kind of differ from other people, but it comes in advantages on certain courses, and then certain ones it doesn't, or just certain holes it works better than others.
Strategies for different hole types.
Yeah, there's always different strategy for different holes. I'd say like Northridge, I play like almost every week during the summer, with it being a league course, so I almost have a game plan for um, every hole that I play there. Sometimes there'll be different tees and stuff, so I'll switch the disc I'm using. And then sometimes if the wind picks up, I'll change it a little bit. Like if there's a headwind or something, I'll go with something more overstable or something a little bit heavier. Tailwind, go more understable. Um, then like if it's colder, like this kind of weather in the winter, go to more softer plastics, stuff that's not as stiff, not as brittle, just so it has a better grip and doesn't kick off the trees as hard, that kind of thing.
How do you practice putting, and what do you recommend for people learning to putt?
Um, I just say it doesn't take a whole lot. I just say do a consistent routine. Um, Try at least do like 15, 20 minutes a day. You don't want to like overdo it because you don't want to make your arm super tired, and then like after a while if it gets tired then you're just getting used to that like bad form after a while. So you just want to just get the reps in, practice from what distance you're making a high percentage of, and don't move back to making the longer ones until you're making a higher percentage of the putts from the distance you're at. Um, that kind of thing, because you want to do good practice. You don't want to practice bad habits and do that consistently. You just want to keep good practice so that you have more confidence on the actual putting green.
What is your go-to disc for long throws?
Um, I'd say right now it's probably time lapse or zenith. Kind of depends on the hole. If it's a little bit shorter, maybe a wrath.
Recent tournament experiences.
Um, I'd say for the most part they've been decent this year. I think last year was probably definitely one of my better years where I got in the top half at most tournaments for sure. This year I did pretty well. I had a couple of them where I didn't play as well, but still I've done pretty decent the past couple of years. I think it's just gaining more experience over time and know a little bit better how to just have better shot selection and um, trying to pick tournaments or courses where I think I could do better and have the experience to play out the hole the way I need to.
What is the most challenging course you've played?
Probably the most challenging one is Northwood Black in Illinois, Morton, Illinois, near Peoria. That's where they had Ledgestone. Pretty much every year they play 2 rounds at that one and 2 at Eureka Lake. They actually played just 4 rounds at Eureka Lake for Ledgestone this year because they actually had the Champions Cup major there at Northwood Black. But I played there with my friends Kevin and Jason. I shot like a plus 20, so it was pretty bad. A lot of bogeys. It's super hard, especially if you get off the fairways. That the rough is brutal and the fairways are just super tight. It's a super hard course.
What is the easiest course you played?
Probably the easiest one is Civic Center. That one I always try to go to get aces. It's just I'd say it's almost like mini golf on a like with regular sized baskets. Like it basically ranges anywhere from 75 feet to 200 feet, and there's only like one 200-foot hole. Most of them are really between like 90 and 130 ish. So it's just fun to go ace runs and like good for upshot practice and that kind of thing.
How do you manage disc selection based on wind conditions?
Like I was saying in one of the earlier questions, you want to go with something more overstable with headwinds. Tailwinds, you want to go something more understable, or you could go with the lighter disc because the wind, the tailwind will make it more stable. So lighter discs or more understable flippy discs are good in tailwind, and then the heavier, more overstable stuff in the headwinds, and then crosswind. You just kind of have to read it right, I guess. You want to be careful, like if there's for me being lefty backhand, I got to be careful on if it's going left or right because I don't want it to get under the bottom of the flight plate because that'll push it way off to the right. So I want to like if like playing hole 1 at North, or actually no, old hole 1, which would be hole 10 now, throwing basically down the hill and then over that mound. A lot of times the wind will be coming off the highway there, so it'll be pushing towards the church, and that'll be a left or right wind. So I want to swing it out way to the left because I know the wind is going to automatically push it to the right. That way I don't shoot it towards the hazard. Just that kind of thing. You got to read it well. Where just want to be able to like put it in bounds or put it in an area where you can make a birdie or par.
What are your thoughts on new disc designs?
I'd say disc technology has definitely improved over the years. I think the distance wise it's kind of maxed out because the PDGA has certain regulations of there's like a max width to the rims. I think it's like 24 millimeters or something for a max rim width, and then so like distance wise I'd say it's pretty much at its max, but there's always different companies are just coming out with new molds and innovating their lineups and stuff, and just all the different companies are kind of filling out their lineups, and so pretty much you have any pick of what you want for any kind of shot selection.
What is your advice for beginners learning the sport?
I'd say the main thing you want to start off, like when you very first start, you want to start with the putters and mid ranges for sure, because those are easier to control. Especially the lighter ones, you want to start off with the lighter weights, like the 150 grams. Like I started off with the Innova starter set way back, and it was like a 150 aviar, shark, and a leopard. And even with those, I'd probably just stick with like the putter in the mid ranges because they're just easier to control. The faster you get up in the drivers, they more just fade out compared to the slower discs. Like the slower it is, the straighter it is, especially with the more neutral discs. So you want to practice with those, and then once you gain more distance, then you go on to the faster drivers and whatnot and work your way up on that distance wise. But it's easier to start off with the slower stuff and then work your way up.
How many discs do you typically carry in your bag? Is it based on the size of the bag or like what course you're going to play?
I pretty much have the same setup all the time. I think I have about 30 in there. Not necessarily a ton of different molds. It's pretty much I have for most of the stuff, especially the drivers, I have like 2 of everything. For like the putters, it's like 1 because they're at shorter distances, so I'm less likely to lose them. But like the drivers, I like having two of them. Some of them are kind of almost perfectly identical. Some of them will have like one newer, one older, or just different colors. Sometimes one will be a couple grams heavier than the others, so that makes a slight bit of difference. That kind of thing.
How do you decide which disc to throw on a particular hole?
Um, Usually, like if it's like Northridge or something, I'll know for sure basically um what disc I already know I want to throw on that hole. Sometimes it's based off the wind. If you're in the woods, the wind doesn't affect it as much. Um, but like headwind, go with something more overstable. Tailwind, more understable. There's but if there's like little to no wind, I'll just go with what I think I should throw for that hole. On the shorter holes, like I'd say like 200 to 225, 230. So putter, I'd say for mid ranges, I go about 250, 275, 275 to 300 or 310, probably fairway, and then anything like farther than that's probably a distance driver.
What is the most important aspect of a good putting stroke?
It differs for everybody because there's a bunch of different types of putting styles. Um, I say just find something that works for you and then try to. I'd say the main thing is probably just less moving parts is good with it, and not try to overcomplicate it necessarily because you want it to be repeatable, and you want it to come out consistently. So that's the main thing. And if you can repeat that and do it with the putting practice, that'll should work out pretty well.
What is the biggest difference between a putter, mid-range, and driver?
Um, Overall, it's pretty much just the shape of the disc. The putters are a lot rounder on the edge and they're meant for catching in the basket. Um, Mid ranges are kind of in between. Those are like equivalent to irons in golf, I would say. They're just kind of the in between shots, in between a driver and a putter. And then the fairway drivers are like a wood in golf. It would be like well in between the mid range and the distance driver, just kind of keep you down the fairway. Um, Definitely faster than a mid range, but not super wide. And then the distance drivers are pretty wide rim drivers, and they just cut through the air a lot faster, and they handle the wind better than um, most putters in mid ranges do.
What is your strategy for approaching a long open hole?
Um, if it's a longer open hole, I usually go with like a wide rim distance driver, especially if there's more wind. I'll go with something pretty overstable. And like if it's a wide open, there's no trees in the way. I won't actually necessarily go straight at the hole. Probably throw like a hyzer shot and try to um, angle it where it's gonna go out wide and then go back into the basket and spike in towards the basket. Because usually most discs, especially if it's a distance driver, have a tendency to fade out anyway. So if you're throwing straight at it, it's gonna have a tendency to fade and it would fade away from the basket. So you might as well go out wide and try to aim it to where it's gonna come back in towards the basket.
What would you do for wooded holes?
Um, it depends on the shape because some of them are straight on, some of them curve to the left, some curve to the right. If it's a shorter one, that's a hook shot or like a heavy fade kind of shot. I'll go with like a wider rim disc or like a fairway that's overstable and do a skip shot. Um, or if it's just a straight on tunnel shot, I'll probably go with like a straight mid range, and just try to go smoothly down the gap, or maybe even a putter depending on the length of the hole.
How do you practice throwing rollers?
Um, I say just getting out in the field and practicing with the different types of shot shapes with it. Um, I like mainly doing forehand or sidearm ones for scramble shots. I don't necessarily do a lot of backhand ones off the tee because those ones get a little bit more squirrely with the shot shape. The forehand ones or the sidearm ones are a lot easier to control because when they come out of the hand, you just kind of it's a point and shoot kind of thing. With the backhand one, you have to be more careful on the angle out of the hand it comes out, and it has more tendency to turn into like a regular kind of throw or like land weird and kind of cut roll. So I'd say the forehand ones are definitely easier to control. or you can almost do a thumber grip. You could do that on thumb or rollers as well. There's a bunch of different kind of shapes, but I'd say like the way the disc flies in the air is similar to how it does on rollers, just flip it 90 degrees. So like something that fades out, it'll fade out a lot on a roller too, just flip it 90 degrees basically for the flight path.
Do you think a course would be harder or easier for a person depending on if they're left or right-handed?
Yeah, certain courses definitely favor lefties more. Certain ones are good for righties. There's a couple ones I like for being left-handed. Like Kensington North or the Kensington Blue course is a good lefty one because it has a lot of shots that just naturally fade to the right. Sleepy Hollow has certain holes like that too. It's got some righty holes, but it's pretty good lefty course. And there's some other ones like that too. Yeah, certain ones just have a tendency to work out better.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add or clarify?
No, that's pretty much what I could think of for right now. Yeah, I think that's it for this video.
Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next vlog.